Hello, everyone. This is Richard Lim, host of This American President, and I am posting this video to give you an update on the whole book project. So, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to all of my supporters, people who have supported me financially or just given me encouraging words, and all of those have been very helpful for me as I've gone on this journey to publish my book. It's always been a dream of mine to publish a book. And so you've been a big part of that. So this book about George Washington will be titled, at least as far as I know right now, it'll be titled Refusing a Crown, How George Washington Changed the World. And I feel like it's very timely. You know, there are very few things that Americans agree upon nowadays. We're so divided politically. George Washington pops up every now and then. And it's really nice because he's one of the few things that Americans on the left and the right can agree upon, that he was one of the great leaders in American history. When Joe Biden spoke on January 6th, on the anniversary of that event, he basically cited George Washington as one of the great Americans and cited the fact that he left power. And that's the topic of my book.
George Washington was the height of his power, having just defeated the most powerful empire on earth. Could have held on to power as long as he wanted. He could have made himself not a future president, but a future monarch. When he got elected president, he could have stayed for 2, 3, 4, 5 terms till he died. But that wasn't the America he and the American troops at Valley Forge had fought for.
When Donald Trump spoke on Washington's birthday just a couple weeks ago, he cited the fact that George Washington left power and that made him a great leader.
George Washington, he could have stayed longer. They wanted him to stay longer, and he said, no, we don't want to do that. We want everybody to have a chance. We don't want to. He was very, very popular, and he refused to stay.
And just before the election last November, The Atlantic ran this issue where they had George Washington on the cover, and they made the case for why you should vote for one of the two candidates based on how they compared to George Washington's legacy. So I feel like it's really timely. And to me, that's really exciting because it means hopefully that George Washington is kind of in the air, and that will increase the odds that I'll get my book published. So I just wanted to give you an update on where I am with that. A little bit of a recap. I came up with the idea for the book in November of 2022. It seems like yesterday, but it was Thanksgiving. I was with my wife and my family, and we were having a little bit of a vacation, and I thought about this book, and this is the book that I've wanted to write for a very long time. And I basically spent all of 2023 researching the book and writing the book. I researched up until basically from that Thanksgiving to I think July of 2023, and I started writing from July to March of 2024. So the second half of 2023 and the first few months of 2024. And from there, that was a huge effort. It took a long time. Very grateful that my wife was so patient with me and allowed me to pursue this book. And a lot of, long nights where I was after work, I would just work on it. On the weekends, I would work on it. And before I knew it, I got into a rhythm and got it done March of last year, at least the first draft of the manuscript. And then I started talking to a lot of different historians to help me out with that. And basically, I got a lot of honest advice. And that advice was basically that the whole book industry is in a very bad place. It's quite dire. That's the word I've heard. But the best thing I could do, and a lot of people told me, don't give up. The best thing I could do was to polish the draft as much as possible, meaning get it edited so that, and have a historian friend look at it, have a professional editor look at it. And that way, when I present it to publishers, that they would be more inclined, they would see that I'm serious, they'd be more inclined to publish it. So that's exactly what I did. I raised money. I hired a historian friend of mine, Jane Hampton Cook, who's awesome. She's also a supporter, so you may be watching this, Jane. Thank you so much. She fact-checked the book and did an outstanding job. And then I had a professional editor go through the book and basically rip it apart and apply the red pen. And he did an awesome job as well. And it looks so much better than my first draft. That's the whole process. Editors are often there to just cut out as much stuff as possible that's not necessary. It can be a bit of a painful process. I went through 4 rounds with him of the book. At some point, you kind of get sick of the draft, but ultimately, I have a draft that I'm really confident in and I love. And now I'm in the mode of basically reaching out to agents and publishers. And because of my podcast and because of just connections I've made over the years, also in my current job, my day job, I've been able to meet a lot of great historians, people like Andrew Roberts and Paul Kanger, and just really brilliant people. And I've gotten a lot of good advice about getting this book published. And I reached out to different people. They've given me some good tips. One of them is to get someone pretty prominent to write the foreword of the book, so I'm working on that. But one person I reached out to who's written books, he's a published author, he's pretty well known within the history world. I didn't know this, but he's actually an agent as well. So he asked me about the book, the premise, and I gave him the pitch for the book, and he really liked it. He scheduled a meeting with me and his business partner. I shared my pitch with his business partner, and he liked it too. So it doesn't mean it's set in stone or anything, but I'm talking to them possibly about them becoming my agent and then pitching it to publishers to get it published. So I'm really excited about this. I didn't know this was, it was one of those things. It was a dream that I had. I didn't know if it was going to happen or not, but I figured I'm going to try the best I can. So this is where I'm at. I'm in the middle of talking to a whole bunch of people, and hopefully one particular historian that might be an agent for me. And hopefully we'll get the book published. I'm hoping that we could get it published by next year, because next year is the 250th anniversary of the United States, the Declaration of Independence. And what better way to celebrate that than to celebrate, George Washington and have a book about him. And one aspect of my pitch is that America is a great nation. What made it great? Because when it was created and founded, it had a great, exceptional man as its founder. Well, what made Washington so exceptional? The fact that he gave up power. And I hope that in this era, we can have a unifying symbol like Washington. So that's the latest update. And more importantly than all of this is the fact that my wife and I are expecting. So that's really exciting. That's the most exciting thing. And so as much as the book is exciting, and I've been hoping to get as much of that done as possible, my wife and I are having the privilege of being parents. And so we're due in a few months. And so I'm sure I won't be getting as much sleep in those next few months. So there's just a lot of exciting things going on. And my wife and I are just so grateful for your support, for God's blessings. And just thank you so much for just being a part of this journey.